All right, so today I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to talk about Golang today. I've really been enjoying using Go, and to be honest with you, I'm not a Go pro, but I'm a bit of a novice. I know enough to break stuff, but enough to kind of get things working. You'll see what I mean. Anyway, what I want to talk about today is how you can use Go to write an unpackaged clone. Now, if you're not familiar with unpackage, let's go ahead and take a look at unpackage here. All right, here we go. So unpackage. Basically, unpackage is a way that you can pull mock packages from NPM, the NPM registry, and it kind of hosts them on its own hosting site, right? It copies the tar files from NPM and puts them up there, and you could link them directly in like script tags and stuff like that. But if you have a private NPM registry, you can't use unpackage, okay? So what you can do is, say you're using something like Verdaccio, and you want to have something like unpackage you can use for your internal NPM registry, your own private one, and you still want to be able to host those packages and be able to pull them in via something like unpackage in your own network, right? I'll show you how you can use Go to do something like that, and it actually works pretty well. So let's dive into that. So I'm using Verdaccio here, and Verdaccio, if you don't know, is a way that you can host your own private NPM registry. I won't go into the details how to set up everything. It's really not difficult. You can install it via global NPM or yarn or PNPM or just Docker image, which is what I do. So I install it via Docker, and you create your account, and then you set up something in your NPM package so you can publish here. So let's take a look at that real quick. Let's see here, where was it? Here we go. So let's look at this package here. So in this package JSON, what you can do, you can set a publish config and then point it to the registry that you want to use. And then you can publish this package to your registry. This particular package doesn't do anything. It just exports a function, say hello, and it says that everything is awesome, because everything is awesome. Everything is awesome. All right. So how do I do that though? So you have to do a little bit of watching network traffic to find out how things work, right? So if I go to this page here, basically what I can do is I can look at the request being sent to pull in the information to look at the API, right? So pulling in this data sidebar there. There's also one for pulling in the data package. So this pulls in information. Oh, that's about the README. So this one has all the information that I'm interested in, right? It's got the latest version, so it has the dist tags, right? So latest 1.0.0. It's got the name here, but I should already have the name. If I got this far, I have the name for my package, and then some other information here, right? So the ID and stuff like that. Perfect. The other thing I want to know is, what does it look like when I want to download the tar file, right? So I have an option to download tarball. So if I click that, and it's canceled out of there, I can look at the URL here, and I can see what the request is to grab this tar file. Those are the two things I need from Verdaccio to be able to write my little unpackaged clone. Now, I've already written this, so I'm not going to go through step by step of how to write the whole thing, but I'm going to show it to you just so you can see all different pieces used to do it, right? Okay, so basically what I want to do is I'm going to be using Gin, which is a Golang web framework. Works very cool. I'm a fan. I'm using Gin. I'm using the cores Gin contrib add-in for this, so I can have cores in my API, and I've got a Golang library to be able to extract my tar file, right? So that's pretty cool. Funny thing here is that when I first started writing this, I was using Rust, but at the time, the library for extracting tar files in Rust had a bug, and I couldn't use it. So I had to go and find something else, and Go just worked perfect. Now, earlier we were looking at the APIs for everything, right? So I click this again, come to my hello, and I say I've got dist tags and stuff like that. I basically want to create a Go struct to describe what this JSON is going to look like I get back. So I'm going to get my ID. And if you look at the way this struct is set up, basically I say the capital ID is going to be mapped as a string to the JSON for underscore ID. I do the same for the name, although I don't have a name here, so maybe I don't need this one. There's no description. I didn't add the description to my package JSON, but the disk tags is the one I really want. So I've got this disk tags, which could be this one here. Let's see if I can make this a little bit bigger. Right, so I've got disk tags, and it has the latest, it's kind of a string. So in here, I've got the same thing. I have a disk tags, which could be another struct. Oops. So that's going to be another struct, and that struct is going to have a latest, which is going to be mapped to the latest, and then the main disk tag struct is mapped to the disk tags property of the JSON, right? That's just some basic information I'm going to need. Okay, so let's get into the main function here, right? So I'm going to go and create my Gin server here. So I'm going to get everything going. And then if you've used stuff like Express or something like that before, this is probably very familiar to the kind of stuff you want to do. So basically what I want to do is I want to have a use method here. I'm going to be using cores, so I pass cores in here, and I pass all the stuff that's allowed. So basically for get, post, put, patch, delete, head options, so everything in there. Full cores functionality, right? So that's awesome. Now, when I have this unpackaged clone running, I need to serve the files from somewhere. So I'm going to serve them from a static packages directory, okay? So what I'll do is I have a URL that I'm going to use to look to see if I have the npm package currently available already in my system. If I don't, I'm going to go out and download it and then serve it from the packages directory. So that's where my static files are going to go. So I'm going to handle the get requests. They're going to go to this npm, and I have a scope, which could be like @odo. If you can see here, my package name. Where'd it go? Here we go. @odo my hello. So @odo would be the scope. Name would be my hello. There's also an option here if I want a specific version, because as I'm working in my private registry here, I might have multiple versions. So maybe for something I want to use, I want a specific version to test something. So I have that option here as well. And then what I could do is you get this context in your Gin request, right? So this context is how you can start accessing different pieces and stuff. So basically what I want to do is I want to get the scope. These are all the properties that I'm pulling out, right? So just like if you've ever used Express before, these are the different properties I can start grabbing from my URL. So I can get the scope, get the name, and get the version, all right? And then I'm going to create a package name, which is going to be a combination of the scope and the name. So @odo my hello is what this would be. And I do a little check here. So I'm basically going to check to see, if I provide a version or not. So if I put a version in here, then I want to go ahead and use whatever version you're giving me in the URL. If not, I need to go out and find a version, right? So let's go down here. So find package info. Okay, so basically what I do here is I'm going to create a URL that's going to look at this URL here. And remember, we were doing all this sniffing and stuff of the requests being sent to this particular page here. So we're going to go to localhost 4873 Verdaccio data sidebar. We're going to look at the scope and the name, so @odo my hello, and that's how we're going to be able to pull information in for the package. Okay, so I'm going to create my client here, and this is how I'm going to go and make the request itself. Then I create the request, right? So I'm going to say a new request, and this request is going to be a get request, which is what this part here is doing, HTTP method get. I mean, very clear there, to that URL. And one thing you need to know about Go is that almost every function, and I think every function, at least I've seen so far, can return a result or it can return an error. And you should be handling your errors. Now, I'm sure there's a much better way to handle errors when I'm doing here, because I just handle it every time I get one. But I'm pretty sure that there's like a shortcut way that you can just kind of pass these errors to like some global error handler for your app take care of things and then maybe do some if checks and stuff. I don't care, man. I'm just gonna say if it's an error, if it's not nil, then return empty string and the error itself, right? So again, whoever's handling this request is going to get a result and an error. Okay, so you want to make sure you're doing that too. But it's errors everywhere, man. You're just managing errors all over the place in Go. So then the client is going to do the request. So it's going to send the request for me, and I'm going to get a result back, which is what the res here is, right? That's my result. If the result body is not empty, if it's not nil, then I'm going to close that up. And I'm going to do here is I'm going to go and read it. So IO, right? So I'm going to read the body. And again, if I had an error, do something with it. Then I'm going to get my package info. And this is going to be equal to that struct I created earlier, right? And I'm using this JSON unmarshal. So I pass the body info into the package info I created. So now it's going to populate it for me. And remember, I've got all those mappings I did. So underscore ID is going to be equal to dot ID. And that means that my package info is going to have all this information now. So really what I want to know is I want to know what the latest tag is, right? The dist tag's latest, which we got over here, 1.0.0. I print it out in the console, and then we'll return that information, right? Awesome, perfect. So that's how I can get the latest version for the particular package that I'm trying to look for. So let's come back to where we were. What was I doing? I got lost now. Fetch package. Okay, so that's what, find package info. That's what we did. And next thing we want to do is we want to fetch the package, right? So I want to get it and I want to download it, right? So let's try that. Okay, so fetch package. So I'm going to pass the package name and the version. So this in my case would be at odo / my -hello. Package version is going to be 1.0.0. And I'm going to start constructing my URL here, 2 points of the tar file. And remember, we sniffed that traffic for the tar file when we did the download over here, which I lost it now. It's not in my history here anymore. I think I cleared it. But anyway, I already know what it is. So it's going to be the host plus the package name. So at odo / my hello dash, again, the package name dash the package version .tgz. So that's what it's going to be. And then what I want to do is I want to have a file name. How am I going to save this file out, right? So pretty much very similar. Put in the packages folder, and then have an output directory. I'm going to put it in the package name. So that's where it's going to get extracted to. And then I'm going to do a check. I'm going to see, do I already have a folder for this package I'm downloading? If I do not have it, then I'm going to pretty much say that output directory does not exist and then create it. And Go has a OS library similar to like you have in Node, where I can go ahead and make a directory. So I'm just going to make a directory all. So this means that if it's a nested directories, it's just going to go ahead and create it for me. And I'm going to give it some permissions so I can write to it, because I'm going to need to write to that directory in here, right? Again, if I get errors in here, then they're going to be fatal errors, and that's going to just blow up my my Go, right? Go home, Roger.
Go home, Roger.
Seriously. If it does exist, so if I don't need to create it, then I'm going to say package and version already exists, nothing to do. So I'm just going to move on and continue with my redirect at that point. So I return here. So an early return, don't need to do anything. Now, if it doesn't exist and I need it, I need to download that package, and we'll get to that in a second. But once I download the package, I need to extract it. So I'm going to extract the tar file to an output directory. And then what I'm going to go ahead and do is say that, so what am I doing? Rename package directory to version. So, okay, so I'm going to go ahead and rename it. And then I'm going to go ahead and say that do a rename. So I'm going to rename the folder here, right? That's what I want to do. And then what I do here is I do a little cleanup. So I'm going to remove the tar file that I downloaded. I'm going to remove the extra temporary folder that I was putting stuff into, get rid of that, and leave everything good to go. So let's look at the download package, right? So the download package looks a lot like the way that we fetch package information. So I have a get request that I'm going to do to the URL to download. This is the tar file. Basically, what I want to do here is I want to create the file. So I use the os.create the file name. So this will be for the file itself. And then I'm going to copy the response into the file. Sorry, right here. So I'm going to copy the response body into the file that I set up, right? And that's it. That's all I need to do at that point. So let's come back over here. I keep losing my spot. That's okay. So basically, okay, so now I fetch the package, meaning I download it. So the package has been downloaded and extracted. And then what I can do in here is that if I look at the package name and it does not exist, and I'm going to redirect, right? So, am I reading that right? I always mess this up reading this stuff. Okay, so yeah. So, is not exist. I hate this. os.is not exist. Okay, so if the package name is there, then I'm going to go and redirect the URL that I originally sent, this npm scope name version, redirect it to the packages folder with the package name, and then I'll be able to download the files as needed, right? Now I have a link that I can use in my script tags, my page, and do everything else. Then what I'm going to do here, oh, that was a lot, right? Then what I'm going to do here is just start the server. So serve, HTTP server, use the 8001 as the port, and the handler is going to be the instance of Gin that I've been working with up here to get everything set up. The other pieces in here is code that I found to kind of handle graceful shutdown of the server, because when I was first doing this, I needed to shut down some weird things were happening and things were breaking and stuff. It wasn't shutting down properly, right? So this is some stuff I found in here that lets me go ahead and shut down the server correctly so things don't break on me. All right, so let's see what this is going to look like now. So, okay, so I've got this. Is this already running? Yeah, so I am currently running this right now. Hello, and there we go. Bam. Now, just to show that everything is working as expected, let's come back over here. Let's quit out of here. Let's remove the folder for the packages. And let's do it again. Come over here. And bam, there we go. Super fast. Download, so it went ahead, output directory does not exist. Creating, renaming package directory to version, package, download, and extracted. And now I have a link to this index.js file that I can go ahead and use inside a script tag in any of my local applications inside my network. Whew. Man, okay. All right, so that was a lot. And you see why I didn't go through step by step, because it would have been a lot of typing for me, and hands are going to hurt. I already typed all this stuff up once. Come on, people, give me a break. Anyway, I just want to highlight this. I think this is really cool. And I think this is a really great use of Go to build a useful application, right? Something you can actually use inside your workplace. Like I said, this is maybe an edge case. I don't know how many people actually have private NPM registries at work or for projects you work on to do your own thing, and that might want to use something like you have it. Basically, this pops up. I had a use case of a private registry that we're using, and I wanted another package. I wanted to link it in a plain HTML file and test some stuff out. I couldn't do it. It just didn't work. And I went through a bunch of hacks to try to do it. I was downloading stuff and copying things to a local machine and everything, and it was just such a hassle. So I decided to just write this tool for me so I can just quickly get things like this done. So I'll put this up on GitHub. I'll have a link down below so you can play around with it and kind of see how it works out. But yeah, give it a shot, try it out, give Go a shot. I really like Go, right? I don't know Go very well. I probably showed you how to use Go wrong in so many different ways, but I don't care because what I have works, and that's all that really matters. So give it a shot, have some fun, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.